presentations from your peers as well as your iMovies on the screen. And you'll also be hearing from individuals from the high schools about planning for your next 4 years. So our theme for the day is no regrets, because when you get to the end of high school or even your junior year, we don't want you to be saying, oh, I wish I took those prerequisite courses so that I could take this course before I graduate. So you'll hear from a lot of individuals who will talk about the different subjects and how you can plan ahead for those things. But first, we have a welcome by our principal of Colonia High School, Mr. Chiara.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, welcome to Colonia High School. How many of you here are going to Colonia High School next year? Okay, a few. Okay. So, in a few short months, you'll be done with your 8th grade year. Okay? For you guys that are in 8th grade. And you will, I asked that question you will be sitting in an auditorium, whether it's here, JFK, Woolbridge, or wherever you're going to school, and getting ready at your freshman orientation to begin your high school career. Okay, as Ms. Breland just mentioned, and I don't want to take too much away from all the people that are going to speak today, all right, it is important to start at the very beginning, all right, and challenge yourselves. To have a plan, to speak with those, whether it's your parents, guardians, family members, people you trust in school, to come up with a good plan and to take advantage of all the resources that high school has to offer you. Okay, you will go through a number of, here at Colonia High School, I'm just going to speak for Colonia, we have a number of different students here that were in your position, that have challenged themselves. We have students this year that have full rides, academic rides to Columbia. We have a student that was accepted to both Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. Okay, right here at Colonia High School. So everyone that might say, oh, you have to go to this school, you have to go to that school. It's up to you to take advantage of the resources, the classes, the opportunities that await you in high school. And then you can do whatever you want from there. So throughout the day, when you have different speakers here, all right, listen, ask those questions, how you can take advantage of your opportunities, because it is important. And high school goes fast. We have our seniors, okay, and I speak with them. And when I spoke with them in the beginning of the year, we talked about how quick from their freshman year sitting, listening to their principal address them, to now they have one marking period left of their high school careers. So welcome to Colonia High School. I hope you do have, as Ms. Breland said, have a great day. Take advantage of the day. Collaborate, ask questions, listen. But especially listen to those opportunities that interest you, those challenges that await you, that you can take advantage of. Okay, have a great day, and we will see you throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiara. And now a word from our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Pastorino.
I'm gonna go down to the microphone, I'm a little louder. First, you heard two things. I'm gonna give you a little pop quiz. What's the theme of the day? Raise your hands. In the back, yes. No regrets. No regrets. Give me one message that Mr. Chiara left you with before. Yellow shirt. Take advantage of your time and resources. So I'm going to say this to everybody that's here. Congratulations. You are here for a couple of reasons, and it's important to hear them. And you might say, like, well, of course, that's kind of obvious. But it's important to hear those, because you are here in no small part because of what you have done to prepare. And before we do that, I want to thank Mrs. Breland. I want to thank all of your teachers that are here from G&T for helping you to do what I would say is over-prepare, right? Everyone in here is sitting here, and I'm sure you've done homework, I'm sure you're working in class, and when you go through some of your classes, you hear, why are you doing so much extra? You know the teacher doesn't really read this, right? Why'd you write so much? Look, I handed in the same homework assignment, the teacher checked it, right? They don't even know, they're not really even looking at it. Why are you doing that? Why are you spending so much time working? Why are you doing so much to over-prepare? And the one thing that you will hopefully come to discover about education and about life is that you can never do enough. If you are passionate about something, if you care about something, if you want something, if you have a goal, there is no limit to the preparation that you can put in. Because at the end of the day, if you've achieved your goal, then did you really over-prepare? Do you really want to ask yourself what would have happened? What if I didn't do that? What if I didn't put the extra effort in? That's not a question you want to ask yourself. That's a question that looks backwards. But you're all here in no small part because what you have done is to over-prepare, and I hope that you continue to challenge yourself. Mr. Chair, I was fortunate enough to go to high school with Mr. Chair. We both have some of these conversations, and this was actually 3 years ago, coming back to speak at this for the first time with Mrs. Vreeland. It's the first time I was back in the Colonia High School auditorium since 1997. First time I stepped foot in the school. I had not been back since. And it amazed me because I had no memory of some of the places in the building, and then I realized that's because you've built new parts of it, and that's probably why. But the preparation that goes into high school, the opportunities that go into high school, they're only there if you are willing to take advantage of it. They're only there if you're willing to over-prepare and set a high goal, right? And if you do that, and you come to school each day and take advantage of the opportunities, and the opportunity might just be to be here, to pay attention, to put a little extra into your homework, to raise your hand when the whole class is sitting there staring at the teacher. It's just too early in the morning. It's just so early. I'm just so tired, right? That's easy. It's easy to oversleep. It's easy to make an excuse that you're tired. It's difficult to come to school prepared. It's difficult to wake up, collect yourself, prepare, right? Put on your best and show up here every day and give your best, right? That takes effort. And just from sitting here today, I want to really just take the opportunity to commend you all on that, because that is the one skill that got you here, and it's the one skill that you also need to continue to improve upon. Complacency is what I would say is the taker of goals, right? The second you become complacent, you're going to watch those goals just get further and further away from you, right? Because if you are happy being here today, which you should be, then I don't know what's next for you. But if you are coming here today with the idea that I'm going to engage with the process, engage with what my peers have spent time working on, you can get something from that, right? There is value to watching the presentations of your peers. And the value that may come might be something other than interest, right? You may have your interest peaked. Your curiosity is peaked. And those two things, interest and curiosity, I do believe are also the backbones of education and academics, right? If you're not interested, you're not going to engage with it. If you're not a slight bit curious, you're not going to continue to push yourself to move forward, right? And those are the two pieces that I would offer you today to take advantage of. This is also the first time Mrs. Vreeland and I had a conversation really about some of the programs and offerings that we want to make sure that you're exposed to. Why? Because at the end of the day, you are here and looking at a high school schedule or looking at the opportunities to present yourself into high school. If you're only looking at your freshman year, you're missing it. Right? If you're only looking, I just have to get through my freshman year, then you're missing it. Why? Because you're not taking it all in. You're not looking at the various paths that you have, and you're not exploring the opportunities that are before you, whether or not you want to participate, not just in school, whether or not you want to participate in the theater, whether or not you want to participate in some of the extracurricular community-based interest clubs, or whether or not you want to participate in athletics. Or some of you may want to check all three boxes. Those are goals. And at the end of the day, what you will be, if you are coming here to Colonia High School, in 4 very short years, you're coming right back into this auditorium. I have no expectation that you will remember anything I said at that point, but hopefully I get to come here and say hello and offer you congratulations. I may try and touch upon it if I get to speak again at your graduation. I don't know if I'll be here, but if I am, or if you're at Kennedy, or if you're at Woodbridge High School, you may see me in 4 years. And I can promise you that those are the two things that I will absolutely touch upon in that, and it will be at that point reflective of what opportunities you have taken advantage to come here, that you have been provided with and what you have taken advantage of when you're here, and what opportunities await you. Because that is the bigger part of education, is that we never stop learning, we never stop engaging, we never stop over-preparing. So let me just end by saying congratulations to all of you, and thank you on behalf of the entire school district for the efforts that have put you here. It is something that we talk about all the time with Mrs. Freeland and with a lot of the teachers and supervisors, is the programs and the offerings that we have for the students. And seeing you here today absolutely brings a smile to my face, because what I'm looking at is the best and the brightest of our school district, and I'm looking at students that have taken advantage of the opportunities you've been given so far and are looking to take advantage of the ones yet to come. So congratulations to you. Good luck. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pastorino. And I'm reminded that with the delays this morning, I kind of got ahead of myself, so I have some other thank yous. Thank you to our Board of Education for supporting G&T and making all of the experiences you've had to this point and what's coming up in the future, just making that possible for you, as well as the rest of our central office leadership team that Mr. Pastorino is representing today as your Assistant Superintendent. Also, thank you to Bruno back there in the sound and lighting and video. Yeah, round of applause for Bruno. It's a thankless job, but he, many of you know, he videotapes many of our G&T programs and makes it possible for your parents to see this on Channel 35 later on. So I think that's, oh wait, of course. And thank you to our wonderful teachers. Can we have a round of applause for Mrs. Mandel? And for Mrs. Sweeney. And of course, thanks to all of the G&T teachers that you had in elementary school. Some of you may be involved in the arts programs, those teachers as well who contributed to you being here today. And thanks to you students, you worked really hard this year, especially on your convocation projects. I know that you selected some, one from each school, or two from Island because we have two teachers there. To present today, but all of you worked really hard on your projects, and I enjoyed seeing them at your schools whenever I possibly could get there. And now we're going to talk about National Honor Society. So many of you, and I will say Mr. Chiara spoke about Colonia High School in particular, but you should all see that as representative of our 3 high schools in the district. We move this event around to a different high school every year, but the message is always the same. So keep that in mind. If you hear anything that sounds like it's specific to Colonia High School and you're going to Woodbridge High or JFK, they will have something similar, if not the exact same thing there. So, they all have National Honor Society, and that's something that you should think about preparing yourselves for so that you can apply later on. And we have a student here, it says on your schedule, Christy live, but she's on a trip today, so we have Ann Argonza to speak to you about the National Honor Society. She is the Vice President of the National Honor Society.
Good morning, guys. So unfortunately, the president wasn't able to be here, but my name is Ann Argonza, and I'm the vice president of the National Honor Society at Colonia High School. I'd like to start by saying welcome to Colonia High School. As part of the Gifted and Talented program, you guys have shown remarkable capability in your academic abilities. I would like to assume that most of you are aiming to be in the National Honor Society once you reach the high school level, and I'm confident that you are all capable of doing so since you're all here. That being said, I recommend that you start by making sure you have everything you need for your freshman year. To be in the NHS, you will need a B+ average throughout your high school years, which equates to a 3.3 GPA. You're going to need at least 2 inside extracurricular activities and 2 outside of school extracurricular activities. You're going to need to make sure you have consistent volunteer experience and community service throughout your years. You're gonna need to maintain academic integrity and create positive relationships with your teachers and your peers. And finally, of course, you're gonna need to maintain high level of course rigor, which includes taking honors courses, taking college level courses, and taking AP courses. And if you're not aware of what those mean, those are basically the higher level courses that are offered at the high school level. So we look forward to having you all in the National Honor Society, and Ms. Ligori can actually tell you more about the AP and college level courses that are offered at the high school level. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Hi guys, I'm Ms. Ligori. I am the Department Chair of Mathematics at Colonia High School. You know, the best subject ever. So I'm here to talk about, I'll put this down. I just want to give you guys a little offering of the courses that are available to you after you take geometry. So if you're in Algebra 1 honors right now, you will be coming into the high school at geometry. That's going to leave you a different pathway than if you're in algebra, if you're taking Algebra 1 next year at the high school. So I'm going to talk about if you're taking geometry next year as a freshman, okay? If you are on that path, you will take, and this is all 3 high schools, okay? It doesn't matter which high school you are going to. So if you take geometry honors next year as a freshman, your sophomore year, you will take a linked class, which will be Algebra 2 honors and pre-calc honors, well, AP pre-calc now, in the same school year. So there'll be 1 fluid class. Here at Colonia High School, you have 1 teacher. So it's 1 fluid class throughout the year. Okay? At the other high schools, you may have 2 different teachers, depending on how they run it, but you do take it in 1 year. The reason for that is junior year, you will take another linked class. It's called Calculus AB BC, which is realistically Calc 1 and Calc 2. Those are AP classes. So your pre-calc is an AP class, and then junior year, you will take 2 AP classes, 1 fall semester, 1 spring semester. Here at Colonia High School, you have the same teacher, so there's no break in students, no break in teacher. That would be your junior year. And that way, senior year, you have options for other AP classes. I hope you take math AP classes your senior year. Those classes that you'll have an opportunity to take your senior year would be AP Statistics. You can take Calc 3. You also have computer science options, but I'll get into those in a second. So those would be your AP calculus classes that you can take. Now, the high school has also expanded on our Middlesex County classes that you can take. So you can take courses here that you get credit for at Middlesex County College. Okay, so you get college credits without having to take the AP exam. So this is a whole nother option. Those classes, sorry, I have these written down so you'll learn. All right, so your pre-calculus class is also a Middlesex class. You take AP pre-calculus, it also counts for Middlesex. So that's a dual class. You can take calculus C level, which would be for Middlesex County credit. That's if you choose not to take the AP route. You also can take statistics as a Middlesex class instead of an AP class. And we also, Calc 3 is only offered as a Middlesex class. It's not offered as an AP class. Okay, so now you may be asking, why would I take a C level versus an AP? Because C level seems a little easier. You don't have to pass the exam. So for an AP class, you have to pass the AP exam to get the credit. Those classes are a lot more rigorous. The college and the upper level colleges, the Harvards, the Yales that we were talking about, Mr. Chair was talking about, that tier of colleges, the AP classes, obviously, probably weigh a little more, I would say, in their eyes than a C level class. So those are the choices, the no regrets that we talk about. These are things you have to start deciding after your freshman year, like what route do you want to go, okay? Either route is fine. It's however you're feeling. If you're a history, English, AP kid, you may not want to take the AP calculus, so you can take the Calc C. There are a lot of options. There is a slideshow with my email at the end. I just want you to know that I have an 8th grader. I also have a daughter in college. I have been here for 25 years at this high school. You can email me regardless of what high school you're going to if you have a question, and I will help you, I will answer you. That's the only reason why I have a job. I am just here to make sure kids get where they want to be, do what they want to do, and they're happy and they're confident in their classes. So if you have a question after this presentation, anytime between now and next year, you can feel free to email me on my work email and I will email you back, okay? Regardless if you're coming here or not. It's a lot, okay? And then lastly, I just want to talk really quick about the computer science. So did you schedule already with your guidance counselors for next year? Okay. You have an option to take computer science honors as a freshman. That would be instead of that CCRA class and that Web and Beyond class that you might be scheduled for. So if you're interested in computer science, you can go down to your counselor and make an appointment and ask them to change, because we did not schedule you at the high school. That would be if that's something you're interested in. It is an honors level course, and it is given freshman year, and it would be in lieu of that college and career and readiness class and that Web and Beyond class, okay? So that's something to think about as well. And then after you take computer science honors, you have to take that course at some point to be able to take our 2 AP computer science classes, which are listed on the board, okay? So that's something to think about for freshman year. It's a hard class, but it's something if you're interested in it, I would definitely do that freshman year instead of taking the CCRA class, okay? That way you learn about the code behind Google instead of learning how to use Google, okay? Does anyone have any questions? You can go through that. They don't need that. You need to, they're fine with that. That's my email, if you want to take a picture of it. It's on the school, you can find me through the, websites or whatever online, Colonia High School website. But I just want you to know that you can feel free to email me any questions. There's also a me at every high school. So you feel free to email over at the high school you're going to if you have any questions about your schedule. It's a lot, and you want to make sure that you're on the right track, okay? And there's a lot of options, and no option is wrong. It's just whatever option's right for you. Any questions? Yep.
If we don't get like the stipend that
No. So the AP class has a grade. Okay, the grade is what goes into your GPA, not whether you pass the exam or not. Okay, the passing the exam is what gets you college credit. The C-level classes weigh the same as an AP class as far as your GPA. So an A in a C-level class, an A in an AP class, both weigh the same on your GPA. Okay? So you don't have to worry about your GPA. Okay? Any other questions? So you have geometry now. So you took algebra 2 next year. Yeah, so you'll just finish earlier than everybody else. Question? I don't even know. 4.0 here, 4.4. Honestly, that would be a counseling question for your guidance counselor. I think we're a 4.0 school district, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Any other questions? Yep. It would be considered AP computer science classes are considered, like an elective class. But you do have to take the honors class first as a prereq before you can take these. So you have to take computer science honors before you can take any of the APs. And there's 2 AP computer science classes for next year. Okay? Any other questions about math? Yep. So Intro to Computer Science Honors is the intro class. That's a prerequisite for the 2 AP classes. Yep. So there's, yep. So you have to take the Intro to Computer Science honors class, freshman year, sophomore year, whenever. Once you finish that class, the next year you can sign up for the AP. Usually the AP computer science classes, whether you take principles or you take A, they're usually juniors and seniors in those classes. Okay.
I don't know anything.
All right, I'll look into that while you're doing your presentations and I'll get back to you, okay? Any other questions? Oh, you mean freshman year? Geometry honors versus what? R? Okay, so here at the high school, we have 3 levels of math. We have S-track, R-track, and honors, okay? If you are in Algebra 1 honors now, you may be scheduled for geometry honors, you may be scheduled for geometry R, depending on what grade you got in Algebra 1. You also may be scheduled for Algebra 1 again next year, but that's a counseling question. The difference in the classes is just the track is different. Yeah. Any other questions about courses? Okay, great. Enjoy your day today.
My name is Hana Dasar and I'm in the 8th grade from Avalon Middle School, and my topic is Japanese art. So welcome to Symposium. For this presentation, we've embarked on a journey through the captivating world of Japanese art, from ancient traditions to contemporary innovation. Join me as we unveil the beauty of Japan, a land where the sun rises and where the centuries of heritage blend seriously with modern creativity. I'm excited to guide you through the explorations that bring Japanese art from ancient pottery to contemporary expression, revealing its aesthetics and profound connection to nature. So, I'll give a brief introduction. I'll go over the early periods of Japanese art, the classical and medieval periods, and the early modern and modern periods, and then we'll go over the key styles and forms, and then we end up with a conclusion. So, introduction. Japanese art, a vibrant testament to centuries of cultural heritage, encompasses the diverse forms from ancient pottery to contemporary manga. Its evolution reflects Japan's history, spiritually, and aesthetic values. Deeply intertwined with nature and fellow change, understanding Japanese art provides profound insights into the nation's identity and its enduring impact on the world. Early periods of Japanese art. So the next two slides will be on the early periods. So the first period is the Roman period from 10,500 to 300 BCE. It's distinguished by pottery featuring cord patterns, handcrafted with cords pressed into wet clay. Clay figurines, also known as dogu, were made during this time. Okay, that's like the dogu right there. What type of style is it? Figures held strong spiritual meanings. Pottery became more detailed, incorporating decorative and illustrative elements. The second period is the Yayoi period, from 300 BCE to 300 CE. The introduction of new techniques from the Korean migrants. Pottery became simpler and more functional, focusing on rice storage and cooking, using fine clay with minimal decorations. Metal working skill also emerged, producing bronze and iron implements. Even bronze bells, also known as dotaku, were created with geometric designs, indicating shamanistic practices. That's a bronze bell right there. Okay. Kofun period, from 300 to 538 AD. Known for its large peephole-shaped burial mounds, Kofu, surrounded by moats, there's an example on top, is demonstrated the power of ruling class. High-end figurines were placed around the tombs for ritual purposes. They were initially simple but evolved into detailed human and animal representations. Silverware were produced during this time, using advanced pottery techniques. The pottery wheel was also introduced during this time. Okay, the last period for this early period, Osco period from 538 to 710 AD. Buddhism has significantly influenced Japanese art, which caused the blending of Shinto imagery with Buddhist symbols. Major achievements include temples and sculptures showcasing high craftsmanship influence from China and Korea. Murals and tapestries also became prominent, emphasizing temple aesthetics and integrating religions and everyday art. Move on to classical and medieval periods of Japanese art. The first period is the Nara period from 710 to 794 AD. It developed a unique style influenced by the Tang Dynasty China. Construction of large Buddhist temples and sculptures. The Toidaiji Temple hosting the massive bronze great Buddha, or known as Daibutsu, exemplified this era's spiritual goals. The Toji temples, like right of the title right there, and Buddha sculptures were known for their smooth finishes, graceful poses, and the super approaches. That's the great Buddha down there. Next period is from 794 to 1184 AD. Culture and arts were refined, introducing sophisticated painting, literature, and decorative art styles. Yamazuki painting emerged during this period. Calligraphy advanced with the Kana script, allowing literature and poetry to flourish. Architecture showed elegant wooden structures exemplified by the Phoenix Hall of poetry. The Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333 AD. It shifted from the Heian's refined culture to focus on the warrior class, resulting in more realistic and emotional art, especially in sculpture. The key school, led by the artists like Kai, created lifelike Buddhist sculptures with dynamic poses reflecting movement and presence. That's Kai right down there. Painting became more direct, mirroring the immense statue devotion. Zen aesthetics simplified art, emphasizing straightforwardness in landscapes and bamboo paintings. The Muromachi period, from 1338 to 1573 AD. The Ashikaga Shogunate blended in traditional and new influences, especially from China, as seen in ink painting, sumi-e, tea ceremonies, and screen paintings. Sumi-e used monochrome ink washing techniques, highlighting brushwork linked to Zen Buddhism. Tea ceremonies celebrate simplicity and perfection, becoming important among the samurai. Artists like Kana Itako created gold leaf screen paintings with landscapes and store figures reflecting the elites. The Momoyama period, from 1573 to 1603 AD, characterized by feudal lords, wealth of power displayed to their use of gold and painting. Tin and ore pottery became popular for their simple, rustic look, written using tea ceremonies. Art from this era showed a mix of local, foreign influences and mirroring Japanese unification. Early modern and modern periods. The Edo period, 1603 to 1860 AD, experienced urban growth and a rise in popular culture, leading to art forms like ukiyo-e and diverse play style. Ukiyo-e woodblock prints depict everyday life, actors, and landscape. Painting schools such as Kano and Tosu catered to the elite and merchant class. The Rinpa school became known for its decorative style, beautiful ceramics, and lacquerware rolls produced. The Meiji period, 1868 to 1912. Modernized Japan, giving rise to yoga and yoga painting styles. Yoga influenced by Western methods, yoga maintained Japanese techniques with new subjects emerged as dominant styles. Artists like Kobayashi, Hyochika, Maruko with European styles create new printmaking techniques. Taisho period, 1912 to 1926. Continued blending modern ideas with traditional Japanese art, emphasizing traditional themes and commentary experience. Artists like Yokoyama Taika contribute to evolving traditional painting styles. The Showa period, from 1926 to 1989, saw significant transformations in Japan during the 20th century, including post-war art, the Monohan movement, and commentary expression. Following World War II, artists explored surrealism and Dodo reflecting social unrest. The Monohan movement focused on relationships between natural and man-made materials. Commentary expression combined traditional influences and modern themes. Artists like Takayashi Murakami created art that resonates with today's society. There's an art from the World War II that they created. And lastly, the Heisei period from 1989 to 2019 emphasized new artistic forms marked by globalization that allowed Japanese artists to mix contemporary styles with traditional elements, engaging from manga and anime. Diverse artistic practices including mixed media, installation, performance art, and cultural history showcased Japanese artistic density in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. We'll move on to the key styles and forms now. So the first style is Sumi-iri, which emphasizes simplicity and essence, inspired by nature and Zen philosophy. Uses black ink, sumi, for braided shoes and animal hair brushes, bude, for shrug styles, and traditional washi paper for ink absorption. Sesshu Toyo is revered for its consideration depicting landscapes, flora, and fauna. There is one of his art, like down there below it. Nihoga, which is a modern form blending traditional techniques with new themes and Western concepts. Employs traditional materials like mineral pigments and gold leaf on silk or paper. Yokoyama, Titan, and Shimono Kazan utilize traditional methods while incorporating modern techniques. There's one art which is down there. Ikebana, which emphasizes harmony, balance, and natural forms of flower arrangement with roots in 6th century Buddhist rituals, and incorporates fresh flowers, branches, foliage, and bases designed for specific arrangements, enhancing aesthetics. The Ikabu school, founded in the 15th century, remains significant in Ikebana practice. Ukiyo-e. There are robust prints and paintings from the 17th to 19th centuries. It means the pictures of floating world. It depicts everyday life, actors, landscape using wood blocks, natural pigment inks, and handmade paper, mostly common cherry wood. Katsusufi Shika, Hokusai, and Utogawa Hiroshige exemplify the ukiyo style with their famous works. The Great Wheel of Kanagawa, I'm not sure if this too, and calligraphy. Calligraphy is a Japanese visual art form characterized by artistic writings of kanji and kana, reflecting aesthetic values and simplicity. Originating in the 5th century, it involves symbols during the Heian period. Employs brushes made from animal hair, ink, and creative forms mixed with glue and paper, which is hanji, handcrafted from rice and mulberry fibers. Ono Michikaze and contemporary artists like Hiroshi Wada harmonize traditional and modern aesthetics. There's calligraphy down there, you can see. Sculpture. Sculpture can be traced back to Buddhism, particularly in the early Nara and Kamakura periods. Early period, 5th to 8th century, Buddhists introduced iconography from Korea. Nara period, 710 and 794, significant advances occurred in Buddhist sculpture. The Kamakura period characterized by large-scale and emotionally expressive figures. Common materials include wood, bronze, and stone. Prime example is the Great Buddha of Kamakura, created in 1252. Shinto sculptures traditionally made from wood or stone represent kami, or spiritual beings. Jocho established innovative approaches to Buddhist statues marked by serene expressions and graceful proportions. The Great Buddha of Kamakura is on the top, and the imagery Shinto sculptures on the bottom. Ceramics. Ceramic is a history from Jomon period to the Edo period with distinguished styles like Imari, Mino, and Rakuware. Earthenware, clay, and glaze are key materials with techniques ranging from wheel throwing to hand building. Shoji Hamada works embodies the wabi-sabi philosophy, showcasing simplicity and natural forms. Textiles. They back thousands of years showing intricate techniques and cultural developments. Early woven textiles were common during the Jomon period. Here here saw the advancements in weaving and dyeing. By the Edo period, techniques such as shibori and sashiki flourished. Common materials include cotton, silk, and natural dyes. The shibori technique involves resisting dye to correct patterns. The sashiki features decorative reinforcement stitching. Origami. It is the art of paper folding. Those began in the 17th century. They utilized materials such as washi with basic folds, including valley mounted, and reverse folds. Complex designs has led to development of innovative folding techniques created by Akira Yoshizawa. And here are some examples on the bottom. Manga, a genre of Japanese comics and graphic novels, developed from the traditional art forms and underwent evolution during the Meiji period. Post-war manga forwards the Osamu Tezuka and others define narrative stylistic attributes. Ink and paper are essential materials. Here are some mangas and anime sequences. Conclusion. In summary, Japanese art has undergone a remarkable evolution influenced by cultural exchange, religious beliefs, and social shifts. From ancient Roman pottery to modern manga, each period has contributed unique styles and techniques that reflect Japan's rich culture. The nation's art emphasizes a deep connection to nature, simplicity, and innovation, making a significant enduring force in global art. Thanks for letting me be your guide into the magnificent Japanese art. Thank you so much.
Great. Hi guys, welcome to Colonia. I'm Mrs. Murray, the department head for Science and Social Studies. Hopefully some of you were able to make it to the January curriculum night to get some of your questions answered. If not, we're here again for you to answer all your questions. So as you begin your high school journey, first there are some prerequisite classes that you guys will need to take. And what those prereq classes should do is give you a nice foundation for the advanced classes later on. The advanced classes, there's a wide variety of AP classes, and then there's also dual enrollment classes. The dual enrollment classes give you both credit at Middlesex County and here at the high school. So it's a great way to get ahead, to challenge yourself, especially in the subjects that you really enjoy. So for social studies, AP classes are available to you sooner than they would be in science. So the first AP class for you in social studies is world history as a 9th grader. 10th grade, you then have AP US History 1, US Government and Politics, Microeconomics, and Macroeconomics. So 10th grade, a lot more AP classes come available to you. If you don't take them 10th grade, that's fine. You can take them 11th grade, 12th grade. It's just at that time, that's when they become available to you. Not that you have to take it in, necessarily in 10th grade, except for US History. In 11th grade and 12th grade, US History 2 and AP Psych then become available to you, right? So social studies, those AP classes become available quickly. Science, on the other hand, you have to take prerequisite classes first. So in 9th grade, you'll come in and take biology. And then after biology, which is a requirement by the state, you then get to choose between chemistry, physics, and environmental science as 10th graders. You can take chemistry, then physics, right, then environmental science, that's fine. You can just choose one of them 10th grade, okay? So it's not that you necessarily take chemistry and then you can't take physics or environmental science, right? But all three of those become available to you after biology, all right? Once you take your prereq courses, then things really open up for you in science. So let me read them off to you. All right. So you have some dual enrollment courses that are available to you. Remember, those are the courses where you get credit for Middlesex County and here at high school. So anatomy and physiology is a dual enrollment course for you, and so is engineering 2 and engineering 3. Okay, so those are some dual enrollment courses for you. In terms of AP classes, there's AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Physics, and AP Environmental Science, right? So there are a lot of options for you once you hit those prerequisites in science. So again, that's the difference between social studies and science, is when they become available to you and what kind of foundation classes you need to take them, right? Another high-level course, which Mr. Matalevich is going to talk to you about, is science research. Science research is an inquiry-based class driven by student ideas, and all of those ideas are run by Mr. Matalevich, and he then, helps you with that course and design what you want. So I'll hand the mic over to Mr. Matalevich, and he can answer any questions you have and let you know what science research is all about.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to Colonia High School. As Ms. Murray said, I'm the science research teacher. Unlike AP Bio and Chem, science research is one that you would start as freshmen next year. All right, if you're coming here to Colonia High School, I'll be your teacher. If you're going to Woodbridge High School, Ms. Clark would be your science research teacher. JFK currently doesn't have the program, but it's something that they're looking to do in the next few years or so. So keep an eye out for that if you want to. I see the trifold posters around the room that it looks like a couple of you have done. That's what you do in science research. You come as a freshman, we talk about what it is to do science as opposed to learning science, and then you come up with your own research project. You tell me what it is that you're interested in. I like bio, I like chem, I like environmental science. You actually do the science research project yourself. You do all the background information. I assist you when it comes to doing the actual research, but at the same time, it's your project. At the end of the day, it's your name that goes to the top of that poster, and you're the one that gets all the credit for it at the end of the day if you win any awards. All right? It's kind of like an athletic competition, only academic. We take your science research project to a various science fairs, some of them local. We're actually going to one on Thursday at Lakeland, it's about an hour north of here. 15 CHS seniors and juniors are going to see if they can win some prizes for their work. All right, we go to a couple every year. There's actually international competitions. This year it's in Cleveland, Ohio, the international wonder of the world, as well as next year being in Arizona. All right, so if you decide to join science research, A, it gets you a head start in one of those more academically driven classes as a freshman in the sciences, and B, it becomes a competition that you can actually win some stuff. We've had, I don't know, about $1,500 worth of winners this year for science research for the students. So that goes right to the students that did the work. Okay, so it's something to think about. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Grasso. He's the athletic coordinator here at Colonia High School. He's going to tell you about the sports programs we have here.
Hello everyone, welcome to Colonia. I'm Mr. Grasso, like Mr. Madeline said, the athletic director. I'm here to give you kind of our options for sports and athletics moving forward. It's a little different than middle school. We have a lot more options for sports. I'm just going to go through them quickly what we have. For the fall, we have football, boys and girls soccer, girls volleyball, girls tennis, boys and girls cross country, cheerleading. For the winter, boys and girls basketball, wrestling, cheer, hockey, swimming, indoor track, and bowling. And for the spring right now, we have baseball, softball, boys volleyball, outdoor track, boys tennis, golf, and newly added flag football for girls. Okay, so it's, we actually have a home game today at 4:30. It's our first home game ever for flag football. About sports, you know, it's a good opportunity just to, one, meet new people, meet new friends. It's great for your college, you know, resume moving forward as activities to be involved in. And it's a good experience just to, you know, learn leadership and learn how to work with other people. So most sports you have to cooperate, work with other people just like most jobs. So it's a good lesson. It's a good way to learn leadership, like I said, and also learn cooperative learning. For sports, you have to hand out you have to do a physical form. I brought some up here if you want to take them before you leave. Okay, the physical forms have to be handed in so you can participate in sports. I think they have in the middle school. The high school one's a little bit different. It's mandated by the state. So anybody who wants to play a sport has to give their physical to me at least 2 to 3 weeks before the sport will begin. Okay, so for instance, in the for the fall, they'll be doing the middle of July, November for winter, and for spring sports, they'll be doing February. Okay, you're going to know all this if you want to play sports, because during your orientations, you'll meet coaches, you'll meet coordinators of these sports. Are going to come around either to your school or they'll be at the orientations when you go there. Okay, like I said, it's a good experience. I think we do a really good job here getting everyone involved. Sporting events here are some of the biggest events we have at the school. So there's great enthusiasm in the town and the school for it, and it's been a great experience for most people involved. Like I said, I'm Mr. Grasso, I'm the athletic director. If you have any questions, your parents can call, email, whatever. We want as many people involved as possible. We want it to get bigger and better as we move forward. Okay, at Woodbridge, you will have Mr. Ward. At JFK, you will have Mr. Weisenstein. Okay, those are the athletic directors over there. Okay, so like I said, welcome. Okay, we look forward to working with you, and hopefully you want to participate in as many activities as possible. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I encourage you guys to try something new. Like Mr. Grasso was saying, there's more sports available in high school. So if there wasn't something for you in middle school, maybe you can try in high school. But be very aware if you're interested in any of those fall sports. It's not like middle school where you can show up first day of school and be like, yeah, I want to play, and then you can get that done. You have to get it done in the summer, okay? So think ahead. At the end of 8th grade, you want to be thinking of that. Now, also in high school, you have the opportunity to take G&T in the high schools, like regular G&T and also 2 AP classes that fall under the G&T category. So we have Mr. Cuff and some of his students here who can speak to that.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you. My name is Mr. Cuff. I'm in the English department here at Colonia High School. And I also teach the capstone programs, which are part of the G&T arts programs, or the G&T enrichment programs at the high school level. I brought some students here with me, this morning, who, in a moment can introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their experiences, not only as G&T students, but advanced placement students. And I guess, if anyone has any questions, maybe they could answer some things that might be on your minds. Right?
Hi everyone, I'm Tia. I'm 18. I'm a senior here at Colonia High School. After high school, I'm going to be going to college for a finance major, and I actually had G&T in Colonia Middle School with Miss Sweeney.
I'm also 18 and I'm a senior here at Colonia High School too, and I also had G&T with Miss Sweeney in 7th and 8th grade. We had our symposium virtually, but it's a really cool experience.
And I'm Anne, and I also had G&T with Miss Sweeney when I was in Colonia Middle School. I also started in elementary school, and I've been doing G&T until now in high school. In high school, we used to offer in 9th grade, there was like a G&T class, but I think they removed that. But we still have what we call AP Seminar and AP Research, which goes all under AP Capstone. And what that basically is, it's basically G&T research, but when you take the classes and if you score well on the exam, you can get college credit. And so what the three of us have done, we've taken AP Seminar and AP Research, which is basically the G&T, but at, I guess, a little bit of a higher level. And what's really great about taking the AP Capstone, which is, again, G&T, is that you, unlike other classes, like in your regular math classes or science classes, you have a lot of freedom in this class. Just like in G&T, you get to choose your own research project, and basically we've been working on our own research project throughout the year, throughout this year. Like, for example, for me, I've been doing my research this year on how academic procrastination is affected by study methods, and I started researching that because I procrastinate a lot, and I was like, how can I improve that? But whatever you guys are interested in, you can take the initiative to go and research that, whether it's in music or in art or in sports. You can research whatever you want, and I think that's the great thing about doing G&T in high school. And yeah, so you want to say something?
So some of the skills that you learn in these types of classes include public speaking and teamwork, because we have group projects too in AP Seminar. So it's a really great way to not only help you if you plan to go to college, but also just in life in general.
Yeah, I would definitely consider taking AP Capstone and then also other AP classes in general. Right now, I'm going into college with so many credits I could probably graduate early if I wanted to. And yeah, I would definitely consider taking AP and dual enrollment classes.
And we're looking forward to seeing some of you in our G&T and AP classrooms in the coming years. I don't know if did anyone have any questions they might like to ask the students about any of their experiences. I think they spoke to them pretty thoroughly. But. All right, well, looks like you guys have some great work going on here this morning, and I'll hand it back to Mr. Green here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Kaden. This is Leia, Arvi, and Hepzibah, and welcome to a peek into the paranormal. A brief description of the term paranormal is that it means anything that is unusual or not normal. It includes a wide range of events and phenomena that go beyond what science can explain, challenging how we see reality. While some are skeptical about it, and others embrace it as superstitions, it remains an established part of human culture, dating back thousands of years to ancient civilizations. When it comes to perceiving paranormal activity and the different kinds, there's a huge variety. Perceptions of paranormal activity can range from unexplainable voices to supernatural encounters. And there are so many different kinds of paranormal activity to learn about. However, today we will look at 3 main areas of paranormal interest: aliens, the Bermuda Triangle, and voodoo. Let's begin with aliens.
What are aliens? So when anyone hears the term aliens, they usually think of a green creature that lives outside of Earth in some foreign land. But an alien, by definition, is an extraterrestrial foreign creature that is assumed to live outside of human knowledge. Aliens are known to be paranormal because they are not normal, non-human, cannot be discovered past a certain limit. First discovery. Although it is rare to spot an alien or a UFO, the first ever discovery of aliens was in the 15th century, specifically in 1480. History and abductions. Now I'm going to share with you a specific alien spotting and a UFO abduction. Around January of 2023, a lieutenant who served as a lead pilot in the Navy was flying his plane when he unexpectedly encountered an unusual looking aircraft. This craft had no wings, no cockpit, no intakes, and no exhaust, but somehow still floated effortlessly in the sky. For years, no one reported the sighting, fearing they would sound insane, claiming to have seen a floating gray square. Eventually, sightings of unidentified flying objects, which were UFOs, began to emerge. The Air Force became involved, taking extensive measures to unravel the mystery. This case also drew increased attention to Area 51, which is a site linked to extraterrestrial technology and the origin of the enigmatic aircraft. People began to explore the Nevada desert, uncovering evidence that could potentially explain the UFO sightings above Earth's atmosphere. Eventually, they concluded that aliens were spotted and a UFO was in the sky. Now I'm going to hand it on to RV, presenting about the Bermuda Triangle.
So what is the Bermuda Triangle? The Bermuda Triangle, or the Devil's Triangle, is a region in the western area of the North Atlantic Ocean where mysterious disappearances of ships, planes, and people allegedly occur. How is it paranormal? Like I said before, there are a lot of disappearances that happen here that often go unexplained or unsolved. To add on, there are no official U.S. files that delineate the borders of the Bermuda Triangle. Furthermore, the U.S. Board of Geographic Names doesn't recognize the Bermuda Triangle as an official name for this region, and doesn't even recognize it as a region of the Atlantic Ocean at all. The first noted disappearance in the Bermuda Triangle happened in March of 1918, when the USS Cyclops, holding 306 crew and passenger members, allegedly vanished while flying over the Bermuda Triangle. To this day, the case is unsolved and unexplained. Some theories. So some speculate that these intriguing disappearances are a result of some kind of supernatural phenomena, such as extraterrestrial creatures capturing humans, or the influence of the lost city of Atlantis, etc. Other theories, however, are more rooted in science and logical evidence, such as rapid currents, violent changes in weather, or even human mistakes. A specific incident. So one of the most popular and well-known Bermuda Triangle stories is the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. She was declared missing on July 2nd, 1937, while on her ambitious global flight. Despite the many attempts and searches, Earhart's plane, body, and co-pilot's body were never to be found. These efforts resulted in the most expensive air and sea search in American history up to that point. Thank you, I'm going to pass it on to Libby.
So, you may have heard the term voodoo before in many different movies, books, or TV shows. An example I can think of is Princess and the Frog. Voodoo is what Dr. Facilier used to curse Prince Nabi and turn him into a frog. But that's not all voodoo is or is used to. Voodoo has been around for over 5,000 years, and it is a term that means serving the spirits. This term voodoo is derived from traditions of Haiti, Gabon, Congo, and Yoruba African religions with French Catholicism. These traditions, rooted from West Africa and Haiti, have spread a long way. The spread of voodoo can be circled all the way back to the 18th century through the slave trade. These traditions are now mainly practiced in New Orleans, Louisiana. Voodoo is known for its rituals and possessions, which begins with a Roman Catholic prayer and involves serving spirits called Iwa, linked to African religions and people. These ceremonies involve intricate cornmeal drawings called jebe and offerings of food and drinks. A G&T participates in these rituals, serving and honoring spirits. And fun fact, being possessed by the spirit is considered an honor in Haiti. When you think of the term voodoo, you immediately also think about dolls. Dolls are used in voodoo ceremonies, made from hand-woven thread and filled with natural materials. And to connect a voodoo doll to a person, you need 3 things. So, I made this voodoo doll, and it is here to represent one of our presenters, Colonia. So, 3 things needed. The first thing is similarities in appearance. I have crafted this doll to look as similarly as I can to Leia. Second thing needed is DNA. So, as of right now, inside this doll, it has about 10 strands of Leia's hair. So, as of right now, this doll and Leia are not connected, because one last thing is needed to intertwine their souls, a ritual. This ritual consists of what most likely has a Roman Catholic prayer, and either Leia has to be in the middle of a circle for the ritual to occur, or she doesn't have to. Just using the DNA and a prayer connecting Leia to it will allow the spirits to. For a while, researchers have thought that the practice of voodoo was a religious thing, but it has been affirmed by Professor Bob Corbin that the practice shares similarities to cultish activities. This sparks the question, is voodoo a religion or a cult? Out of everybody in the audience, can you raise your hand if you believe that voodoo is a religion? Raise your hand if you think voodoo is a cult. Well, regardless of what you answer, I think it's pretty high. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
We are presenting about the importance of music in film. My name is Katie. I'm in 8th grade. I play percussion. I like rock music. I'm 13, and I also like sport hockey.
I'm Rosalind, and I'm in 8th grade as well. I play flute in school. I love pop music. I'm 13, and I also like volleyball.
We're going to do a little guess the musical before we start for fun purposes, and it's about movies, so we might as well. If you know what it's saying by the hint, then you can either just kind of yell it out. If you guys don't get it within 10 seconds, we'll have a music as a hint. So, Gold Black, Stars in History. Does anyone know that music? Yep. We're starting off a little easy. This next one, barely anyone gets. I've only had 2 people ever get this question. Yes. Good one. I don't know why. It's musical. This is easy. Then, there you go. Wicked's correct. Purple and gold thief and a princess. Nope, it's not Rapunzel. It is not Tag. It's not Tangled. Nope. Nope. Does anyone know?
Does anyone know that song?
Aladdin, yes. Red, yellow, animal, and yep. Blue and yellow, creature and a rose. Yep. Pink means cool. Yep. We're going to talk a little bit about the science behind music.
This is just what is suspense. Suspense is defined as a state or feeling of excited or anxious uncertainty about what may happen. Suspense can be created by raising questions and withholding information.
Like the horror movie. I'm not going to read all of this, don't worry. So, the science behind suspense. When you hear music, it activates your auditory cortex, which allows you to process sound and itself. So me talking to you right now, your auditory cortex and your limbic system are activated. Your limbic system lets you process emotions and feel emotions as it is. So when you hear fast-paced music or stuff with really high pitches, you tend to feel more anxious because you feel something's coming. It's a feeling of apprehension. And when you hear something a bit slower and a bit calmer, you tend to feel relaxed.
Music can create suspense by the tempo changes, the unsteady beats and dissonance, dynamic changes as well. So when something gets louder or quieter, as she mentioned as well, that makes you feel certain emotions. Once it gets slower or quieter, it makes you feel like something's about to happen. But when it starts speeding up, it's as if someone's running away from something. And the dissonance is basically when two notes are very opposite of each other, and they create like a weird sound, basically. Kind of like a creaking door.
Yes, it sounds like the notes are like hitting each other. Like, have you ever been listening to like music and then something else plays and it sounds really disgusting, almost like nails on chalkboard? That's dissonance. It's when two notes are too close to each other and it sounds absolutely gross. Or when the singers are out of pitch, that hurts too.
So, unsteady beats create like a sense of loss or control, which create the suspense as well.
Picture, if you will. 4 pictures, right? So if I look at you, right? If I look at you and I say, okay, look at, let's say, Superman, and I start playing this. Does that sound right? Am I going to start playing creepy music while Superman is flying through the air to someone's rescue? No, I'm going to start playing something like this. Does that sound more accurate? Exactly. And let's say, I don't know, let's say the dance picture, that's from Napoleon Dynamite, yes it is. The dance picture, I'm not going to start playing, I'm not going to start like this. There's no one that's going to dance to harmonicas and a Western duel. It would sound something more like Ed Sheeran. But it just goes to show how much music actually affects what you watch. Because if you're watching a movie and there's a creepy door with Superman playing in the background, you're going to be very confused. Like, is Superman behind the door or is it just a door?
Another example is if in horror movies, sound is basically everything that creates suspense. Horror movies, if it was completely silent, and then there's just a murderer behind you, and there's no sort of creepy music, it's kind of just creepy. It's not a murderer, it's just someone who's behind you. It's the same thing as if like your sibling was just behind you, trying to scare you for no reason.
Movie genres.
These are just some examples of movie genres. So there's horror, romance, action, drama, and mystery.
We're going to explain some of them, and there's some fun facts under their titles, if you want to read them, we will. There's been a horror. Scary movies. Anything scary. Murders, people that end up like stalking you, I don't know, that kind of stuff. Terror is the first horror film with music to actually be behind it, so imagine that beforehand it's just someone walking at you with a knife. Pretty boring. So some examples are Hush, The Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, and the movie It, which is the one with Pennywise.
Another example is romance. Romance is just basically anything with a love story. And slow and steady dances and music, that all happens in romance. Some examples are Crazy Rich Asians, La La Land, How the Boys I Loved Before, and Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice is my favorite. Action. Yes, all the examples are Marvel themed. I am a Marvel fan. Deal with it. A Trip to the Moon is the first action movie with sound to be in it in general, not just music. Some examples are The Amazing Spider-Man, Winter Soldier, Avengers Endgame, and anything that has to do with basically superheroes and saving people. That's basically action.
Drama. The Jazz Singer is the first ever film with music behind it. It came out in 1895. Some examples of drama movies are The Godfather, Hidden Figures, and Gladiator.
Mystery. Sherlock? Anyone ever read Sherlock Holmes? Mystery. We have the Batman 2, which is the most recent Batman movie to come out. The others are mostly under the genre of action. Smile 2 and Monster Summer. We're going to do a bit of Q&A about music and film, which is just us asking the question and also answering the question. So, minutes of music. Movies usually have 45 to 120 minutes of music in them, which is about like 75% of the movie.
First popular song in the movie, the song that became widely popular in the movies, is the song Blue Skies. This song was displayed in Majestic.
Majestic was actually the first movie in general to have music in it at all. The first comedy was a show called The Music Box.
The first musical was in 1857. It's called The Elves.
Continue. The first TV show with music in it was The Boys from Boys.
What about Disney? The first Disney film to have sound in it was called Steamboat Willie. You see a clip of the character at the start of every Disney movie as sort of a contribution to the first ever.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this thing. The little Mickey dude with the hat on him steering him. That is the first ever Disney film with sound in it. How long does it take to compose the music, write the script, and set the animations? It takes from about 2 to 5 years, which is a lot of time.
Popular songs many songs are used in multiple movies, but some popular ones are This Is How We Do It and September.
Any questions?
Our project is on murder minds, where we're gonna tell you stories about 2 serial killers and describe the forensic science used to solve the case along with the attacker's brain activity. We'll also tell you some fun facts of that.
Our first serial killer is Gary Ridgway. Gary Ridgway was born on February 18, 1949 in Salt Lake City, Utah, and he's one of America's most prolific serial killers. Known as the Green River Killer, Ridgway claimed the lives of at least 49 individuals in the Seattle area during the 1980s and the 1990s.
His chaotic upbringing, marked by early disruptive behavior and a strained relationship with his mother, seemed to indicate his further actions. Ridgway worked as a truck painter. And a seemingly normal job that allowed him to evade suspicion for years.
He preyed on vulnerable young women, often runaways, by trusting them and making friends with them, and then strangling them. And the worst part was that he would go to their corpses and do unspeakable things, which I can't speak about because they're unspeakable.
Ridgway was finally taken into custody in 2001 after DNA evidence linked him to the killings. He was found guilty of 49 murders, although he confessed to killing 71 women.
The breakthrough in the Green River Killer case came through meticulous forensic science.
One of the techniques that forensic scientists utilized was DNA technology. Scientists would re-examine old evidence using advanced methods. They retrieved DNA from semen samples and when compared to Ridgway's DNA, would securely linked him to multiple victims, which gave them enough evidence to prosecute him.
Microscopic paint analysis. Investigators examined minute paint fragments found on victims. So, like any evidence they could find on people. These particles, smaller than typically observed, were linked to the industrial spray paint used at Gary Ridgway's workplace. So he had a job at spray paint place, and the spray paint they found on victims was the same as at the workplace.
This connection corroborated the DNA evidence tied Ridgway to the crime scene.
Further neurological research indicates that individuals like Ridgway may have issues with brain regions related to impulse control and empathy, such as the amygdala and prefrontal cortex.
These disorders can result in psychopathic qualities, including a lack of remorse and the inability to form emotional connections, traits that are commonly found in serial killers.
All right, Joseph James D'Angelo, that's our second person, born on the 9th of November, 1945 in Bath, New York, He was a former cop and then he moved to California, where he started his killing spree from 1974 to 1986.
Known as the Golden State Killer, D'Angelo committed at least 13 murders, 50 rapes, and over 100 burglaries, instilling fear across communities for decades.
His crimes are marked by meticulous planning and extreme violence, and his knowledge of police procedures and forensic technology allowed him to elude capture until 2018.
The resolution of the Golden State Killing case highlighted the power of forensic science.
DNA collection and analysis. DNA samples have been gathered from a variety of crime scenes over the years. These samples were kept and reanalyzed as DNA technology evolved. Short tandem repeat analysis, also known as STR analysis, was utilized to generate a DNA profile from crime scene samples. Short tandem repeats are DNA regions that include repetitive short-based paired sequences. These regions vary greatly between people, making them important for identification.
Genetic genealogy was also used by investigators. They submitted the crime scene DNA profile to GED Match, a public genealogy database, by constructing family trees and identifying partial DNA matches. Genealogists finally traced the DNA to D'Angelo.
A discarded DNA sample from D'Angelo confirmed the match.
Studies suggested that abnormalities in the prefrontal cortex responsible for decision-making and impulse control can lead to violent behavior.
Additionally, a malfunctioning amygdala, which is the part of the brain that processes emotions, can cause a lack of empathy and increased aggression, which is what some experts believe is the leading factor for his crimes.
Neurotransmitter imbalances, such as serotonin, which regulates mood, and dopamine, which regulates happiness and pleasure, are also linked to impulsivity and violence, likely influencing D'Angelo's actions.
Gary graduated IQ with 82, which is close to the world's most successful criminal average IQ of 94.
Joseph D'Angelo's IQ was 130, significantly higher than the same average, showing the intelligence that these criminals possess.
In 1987, 128 convicted serial killers were operating in the United States.
Most serial killers are white males with deeply disturbed personality traits. Because of the lack of expressing emotions as a man, with the desire to be visualized as a strong individual, the emotions and anger build up, and is usually expressed in acts of violence like abuse or killing. In the US, there's about 2,000 active serial killers today, and about 40% of the time, one might get away with murder.
Gary Ridgway had a less active hippocampus, which meant he was impulsive and did not plan his crimes well, while Joseph D'Angelo had an overactive hippocampus, which meant that he had meticulous planning, and that's why he was able to elude escape until 2018.
Okay, so some fun facts are that some people are romantically drawn to serial killers.
I still get it. Wait, you're not right. All right, that's all for today, folks. Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is our presentation on stocks. By a show of hands here, who knows what a stock is? What is stock market? Okay, so a lot of people here. So I'm Yash, this is Aditya, and
Hi, Gurbalan.
I'm Sarvesh.
There are three types of investors. There are day traders. So day traders are people who monitor the stock market daily and buy shares of a company when prices are low and sell it when the prices are high to gain profit. Day traders often start when the market opens at 9:30 a.m. EST and stop at the market when it closes at 4 p.m. EST. Day traders plan to complete transactions within the hours of one day and do not carry stocks over like many days. The second type of investors are long-term traders. A long-term trader is a person who holds onto stocks for a longer period of time. So these are the complete opposite of a daily trader. And it's up to them when they sell it. So long-term traders have a lower risk of losing their money because they don't have a time limit, and they're not dependent on the stock's values fluctuating. However, the more money they put in, the more money they can lose, or the bigger the profit they can get. Long-term traders make money for slower time than day traders do, because they keep their stock for many years.
So the final investor is the stockbroker. So stockbrokers have more experience in the market and higher expertise than the average person, and this helps them make like more informed investment decisions. So brokers take the client's monies and they invest it in the market for them, and they also manage portfolios to maximize returns based on client goals and market conditions. So this all comes when the broker also does get a small commission fee, taking a portion of the profits or charging for managing investments, ensuring they profit what clients do. So they're like, they're kind of really good at the market, and you want to give them money to make more. You still have to pay them. Yeah.
So today we're all going to be talking about two types of the main trends, right? A positive trend and a negative trend.
All right, so the first trend is a bullish trend, which is a positive trend, and it's when the stock's value generally goes up over time, but it fluctuates. So let's say you see an upward draft, that's a bull, and you can think of it like a bull rising up like a mountain. And so there are moments when the value dips, which is a fluctuation, but it's still over the period of time it goes up and rises. Many investors sell their shares during a bullish period because they can profit off of that. And a bullish trend is also a good opportunity for investors to make a lot of money and creates a potential for gains. The second type of trend is a bearish trend, and when a stock's value goes down. And a lot of investors have negative emotions, so a lot of people want to like buy or sell off, but some people take advantage of it and they buy low, sell high, which is what some people think when trading in the stock market. And bearish trends can represent like a good opportunity for long-term investors to make a good amount of money.
So the stock market can affect both consumers and producers. So for consumers, when consumers invest in a company, they're purchasing a stock or they're buying a part of the company, right? So they gain partial ownership. And they might have voting rights depending on the amount of shares they own in this company. There are risks of this too, because when you invest in a company and the company loses money, you can also lose money. For producers, selling stocks provides a way to raise money, because when consumers buy stocks, they are providing funding to the producers who can expand, build more, and create more innovative products to increase the value of their company, which makes both the producers value more and the same thing for the consumers. All right, so now we have a situation for you guys. So John and Joseph are both Nike store workers and are currently 18 years old. The year just ends and they're both given a $2,000 bonus. They each choose a different path. These two they make separate decisions that lead to different outcomes. So by show of hands, who thinks John will make the better decision? All right, now Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joseph can't control himself with the excitement filling him, and now knowing that he can spend his bonus of $2,000 on anything he wants, he spends all of it on late night partying and like wasting his money, which he won't remember in the long run. He never gets a net worth higher than $1,000, and he struggles to start a family and lives in his parents' basement. He starts to decide investing much later in his 30s, and he finally understands the mistake he made, but the damage has already been done, and he can't do much right now.
So John, being a smart investor, splits his cash evenly. He puts half into a high-yield savings account and the rest into a stock brokerage company, which, as we talked about previously, is a stockbroker. This gives him enough money to create a backup plan for emergency, and in the long run, John multiplies his money many times over. In the case of an emergency, he has a safe amount of money to use, and by the time he turns 25, he's built a future for himself, and an overall net worth of $1 million by investing the money he continues to make. So now you guys tell us, who made the better decision, John or Joseph? Raise your hand for John.
Raise your hand for Joseph.
Raise your hand for Joseph. Yeah, so I think we figured that out. So, some quick facts.
There are 60 stock exchanges in the entire world. The stock market operates on a system called supply and demand. So, raise your hand if you know what supply and demand is. It's gonna, yeah, amazing. Yeah, so, the stock market was officially created in 1792, but stocks were traded as early as 1602. So, yeah, the market is just a place to trade stocks, but you don't need a market to technically trade stocks. This happened like, as you can see, like 100 years, like more than 100 years before, so, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing about this, right? When you think about stocks, you normally think about digital stocks, which is what we trade today, in places like Fidelity or Chase Bank, right? Those are digital stock exchanges where we can buy and sell stocks online. Whereas back in the days, when like 1602 or 1792, when they sold stocks, it would be in person and they would sell shares of their companies. So the early stock markets were coffee shops where people would meet up, business meetings would happen there, and they would scream across the rooms to try to buy stocks from other people. So that's how they would like sell shares and get money for their companies. All right, that's stocks. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Mia Bella Mielberg. I'm from Woodruff School. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm going to be presenting on Marie Antoinette and her famous quote, "Let them eat cake." So before I begin talking about her quote, I wanted to give a quick biography. That is Marie Antoinette when she was little. She was born in 1775 in Austria with her mother. She was a member of court. Her official title when she was still living in Austria was Marie Antoinette of Habsburg-Lorraine. That was her court name. She died in 1793 in France, and she lived in Austria until she got married to King Louis XVI at 15 years old, or it was either 14 or 15 that she got married. And without knowing anybody, without knowing anything about France, she moved to France to be with her husband. And she was a member of the French court, which was just not king, not queen. She was just a member, and then she eventually became queen, I want to say when she was around 20 years old. So I just want to acknowledge that she was married at like 14 or 15, which is around our age, and I just want everybody to kind of imagine being married off to somebody you don't know. Her marriage was arranged between France and Austria to make an alliance between them because France and Austria did not get along. It turns out that France and Austria, even after they were married to make an alliance, they did not get along afterwards. So yeah, she was married, she didn't know him, she didn't know France's customs. They were very different compared to Austria because it was a whole different country. Then I want to speak about her family. She had 4 kids with King Louis. Only one lived to adulthood. She's the eldest one, Marie Therese. She lived to be a Dauphine, which is another member of the court. And her 3 other children all passed away at 10, I believe, the eldest one, and then 7, and her baby died when they were young. And they mostly had a lot of kids. She adopted 1. There's not a lot of information, but adopted children was not widely accepted in France in that time period because it wasn't you and your husband's biological children or child, so it wasn't seen as right or proper. So yeah, they had often a lot of children to make up that a lot of them did die within disease and just how life was in the 1700s. And yeah. So I want to speak about why she was like made out to be such a horrible person. Those were her list of charges. She was charged with incest, being promiscuous, harboring sympathies for France's enemies, and spending a lot of unnecessary money. So in case you didn't know, Marie Antoinette, her image is that she was spent an insane amount of money, insane amount of France's money, drained all the money they had, wasted it so that the French had no food. So that was where the quote came in, "Let them eat cake," because that was supposed to be her response to her people starving and they had no bread to eat. Yeah, so I guess so the quote first attributed to her in that book up there, it's very old, The Confessions of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and he wrote that in 1967 while Marie Antoinette was ruling, and he attributed the quote, "Let them eat cake," to a great princess. At the time, in his book, it's in French, and it translated to "let them eat brioche," which is a fancy type of bread, so not exactly cake. And he attributed it to a great princess, and they automatically kind of assumed that that was evidence to Marie Antoinette saying that, because there's no other proof besides that quote that she said, "Let them eat cake." It was very common for royalty, monarchs, kings and queens to let the tale that they were very selfish and they didn't spend their money wise and they wasted it and they did not take care of the people that they were supposed to rule over. So it wasn't a very uncommon scenario. The quote was later found out to be false, and upon investigation, the man who wrote the book was talking about a Spanish princess, and Marie Antoinette's not Spanish. So therefore, there is no accurate or no depiction of her ever saying that in history. So she did not say that. I want to speak about her style revolution. That is Marie Antoinette, and that was one of her gowns. She roughly was allowed to spend $3.4 million a year. This is modern money on dresses. She popularized the hairstyle that you see in a lot of paintings in that century, which was called a pouf, and it just had their hair very high up and a lot of accessories. Marie Antoinette was the epitome of beauty in France, especially, even though people did not like her because she was Austrian, or her people didn't like her. They all thought she was very beautiful and wanted to look similar, which is why there's a lot of paintings that might look in similar ways to Marie Antoinette. She popularized pastel, vibrant colors. She always dressed very lavish. We can see an example. And she popularized like ruffles, lace, tulle, like a lot of fabric in the dresses. And then I want to talk about the French Revolution because she was one of the main causes. The French Revolution was basically the monarchy's way of saying that they were unhappy with Marie Antoinette and the way that she was ruling. And I just want to make a comment. Marie Antoinette, I don't want to say that she's not guilty or she's innocent. Marie Antoinette was a child when she got married, but she did not spend that much money. That's the Palace of Versailles, that's where she lived. That's where the royal court lived. But she was not allowed to see her children. Her children were separated from her, and they were not considered hers. They were considered her husband's because women did not have a lot of rights in this time period. And Marie Antoinette did not have a lot of control as far as the market and the people, so she was not really involved. She was just kind of there on the side of the king. Like she was just kind of for show. I mean, she had some political part of it, political importance, but it wasn't necessarily as much as the king. So the monarchy overthrew her in 1792. She was, in that time, a symbol of everything wrong. She was immature when she got to the court. She spent all of France's money. She wore them down, and she was very lavish. She liked a lot of she liked her extravagant lifestyle. She got very used to it when she was introduced to it, and it was expectation in France to be very wealthy and very rich. So she made that expectation because the court members, the prior king, were expecting her to live up to standards. Yeah, she was killed by the guillotine, which is where they had her head cut off. And I guess not a really fun fact. But when she was killed, her husband was killed shortly after. She was in prison for a couple of days beforehand. most of her children had died by the time that she was killed, except one who was in the audience. So the way G&T's work, all the people celebrated her death. That's a portrait painting of her wishing goodbye. And she had a dog named Mops who she spoiled, and they killed the dog too because the dog was crying after her death, and the French did not just want the dog because it attributed to Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, I think. Let's just make sure that I got everything.
Yeah, I want to just talk about the family again. She was not allowed to see them. A lot of people with the incest that was with her eldest son, the one with the blue background, that is Louis Charles, and the court blamed Marie Antoinette and made her son accuse her of incest, and that was one of the reasons that she was killed, because that wasn't acceptable, and it was false. It was a false accusation to her, and that made a lot of speculation. Because Marie Antoinette had a lot of portraits and paintings with her children and with her sons when she was allowed to see them, because the court rules said that she could not see them as much as she wanted to, so she had limited time to see her children, which is much different than today's society. So I think that Marie Antoinette, I don't want to say, again, innocent, guilty, but I think that there's definitely more to her besides let them eat cake. So thank you so much.
Okay, everyone did a wonderful job. I just want to talk to you briefly. You've heard some of the people speaking about courses today, the AP courses and dual enrollment courses. So just something to think about. You want to take courses that you're interested in. You also want to take courses that are going to build your GPA, that you'll be successful in. AP courses, as you've heard today, you need to then take an AP exam in the May, usually in the spring of your senior year, and you need to do well on that exam. You need to get it depends on the school you want to go to. They're scored from 1 to 5. So usually a 3, 4, or a 5 will earn you college credit, but it depends on the school. If you go to a very high level school, they might say, well, we only take 4s and 5s, okay? So it's a little bit more up in the air of what the college credit is going to be, where dual enrollment classes, whatever grade you get in the class, that's the grade that goes on the college transcript, and you're actually earning college credit. There's a little bit of a fee for dual enrollment classes for the college, so they'll tell you, depending on which college it is, what that fee is, but it's greatly reduced. So where, if you went directly to the college, they might charge you, over $300. When you go through the school, they might charge you like $100. It's about 1/3 of what you would pay going directly to the school. I just want to tell you about something that's in process, because you're right on the borderline of when this may be available. Dual enrollment can lead to an actual college degree before you leave high school, right? An associate's degree. So what the school district is doing now is we're working to offer enough dual enrollment classes with Middlesex College so that you can earn an associate's degree before you leave high school, right? For the students who are currently in 7th grade, we are planning to have a plan in place where you follow this plan exactly, and you will be able to definitely get that associate's degree. You guys are kind of on the borderline where it's something we want you to be aware of, but it's like we can't promise you that you'll follow this formula step by step and you'll be able to get the associate's degree, but some of you may be able to do it. So what that gets you is 2 years of college done. Okay, so keep your eyes out, talk to your counselors about this. You may want to take some of those dual enrollment classes that you can early in your high school career. It's mostly sophomore, junior, and senior year. So you may be able to fit it in and get that associate's degree. It involves not only taking the dual enrollment classes that are offered at your high school during the regular school day, but also taking some at Middlesex, so maybe in the summer. So for you guys, because you're on the borderline where we can't necessarily say that the whole program is in place, you might still be able to do it by taking some extra classes at Middlesex, right? So just talk to your counselor about that, because as the program comes into place, when you're entering your sophomore year, you still may be able to kind of get on that bandwagon and accomplish that, okay? So keep that in mind, but also the AP classes and which ones you would like to take. Mr. Hutchinson is here to speak to you about the English department.
Favorite already. Thank you, Ms. Freeland. I am Mr. Hutchinson. I am the English supervisor for the middle schools and high schools. I also taught here at Colonia High School for 15 years, and some part of that I was the G&T teacher here at the high school. So I love this day. I'm sorry I had another, something I had to take care of. I will be going around and checking out your projects. It's one of my favorite days. I love to see what you guys come up with. Here to talk about English. I will speak to world languages a little bit as well. When you get to the high school, obviously there are different tracks. You'll be taking English all 4 years. Your freshman and your sophomore years, there's pretty much, you'll be set on whatever track, honors, art track, whatever you're set for. Come junior years, when you start to get options, you'll have some AP options. You have AP Lang, AP Language and Composition, which really deals with nonfiction texts, deals with the art of argument, so to speak. And then that's typically taken by juniors, although it's open to juniors and seniors. And then senior year, again, typically it's AP Lit, if you're gonna stay on that AP track, AP Literature and Composition, where your focus is mostly on fiction and longer texts of that nature. They also have some dual enrollment options for you when you get to senior year. I wrote these, I printed this out so I wouldn't forget some. I know we have a dual enrollment option with English Composition with Middlesex, which is a 3-credit course. We also have some dual enrollment options, Practices of Academic Writing with Syracuse, Presentational Speaking with Syracuse, Creative Writing with Syracuse. Some of the electives that you could get in English as you progress through your high school career, sports and literature, philosophy and literature, one of my favorites, film and literature. There's a screenwriting class, there's creative writing 1 and 2, and in 2 you end up writing whatever you're gonna write, whatever your genre, whatever you're making, you come out with the 90-page novella or whatever it is you decide to write. So a lot of options there, and as you get later in your years, you'll have more options at the higher level, AP and or dual enrollment. There is also an AP capstone course, which I highly suggest you take advantage of if you can. AP Seminar is the first course in that, and that is where you get to engage in secondary research, but on any topic that you want, so you get to choose. So I can't come up here and tell you this is what you're gonna be learning. You're gonna be choosing that. What you learn is how to research and how to sort through your research to get the best results that you can. And then the second component of that, which typically is senior year AP Research, which allows you to engage in primary research of your own topic. So again, I can't sit here and say this is the topic that you guys spend all year doing. It's you choose your topic. You come up with how you're going to collect data, and you're going to analyze that data, and you're going to come up with your own conclusions to whatever issue you're investigating. So AP Capstone's a really, really great program. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and just talk about our world language options as well. We have Spanish, we have French, we have Chinese, we have American Sign Language. Okay, it can take up to 4 years of each of those courses. As you get later, junior and senior year, there are dual enrollment options with Middlesex for all of those languages, as well as AP classes for each of those subjects as well. The last thing, just make sure that it is the last thing. Yep. We also have an opportunity for the seal of biliteracy. If you speak another language, if you speak, read, write, and listen proficiently in another language, you can take the seal of biliteracy test. Only happens junior year after, I forget the dates, January or February of your junior year till January or February of your senior year. You have to test then. So if, I know sometimes we have students who come in with tests from other places, maybe their school. If that's not being done junior or senior year, you can't get credit. You just have to take that test again. But it's free, the district pays for it. You prove proficient in English, which you'll do in order to graduate, so that you have to have. We'll make sure you get there. I'm sure you guys won't have to worry about that anyway. And then any language, not just the 4 that I mentioned, not just the ones that we offer. All of the languages that pretty much exist in the world, there's a seal of biliteracy test for it. And that's something that goes on your diploma. You're registered with the state that says you're biliterate. It can go on your resume when you're seeking a job. You are certified bilingual. And that's really a great opportunity that you should take care of. So unless there are any questions about either English or world language, I'll let you guys get back to your iMovies. Thank you very much.
I have a question for the students here. Is there anybody here who speaks another language and writes and reads another language where you think the seal of biliteracy might be? Okay, good. A lot of candidates. That's wonderful. Great, you can put your hands down.